everybody out there. I am back. That's right. Jessica Koch, your host of Profound Professionals, the interview series that has been running for the last 8 years. Thank you to all of you in the community who have been following us. We bring you industry experts from all over the world. Yesterday, we had someone from Australia. We are all over the planet for you who can help improve your personal life or grow your business. So we are grateful to have you. We hope all of our guests have helped improve your lives. And today we have a really interesting guest. I'm super excited about his topics. They are from 8 figures to nuclear. So, this is going to be, I think, a nuclear event. That's what we're going to call this, the Nuclear Show. So Tony Morgan is a serial entrepreneur. He went from dropping out of high school to being an educator, providing careers in nuclear power. Like how that ever happened. That's really cool and interesting. But my favorite piece, I'm totally greedy, is his established, yes, 8. I'm going to tell you 8-figure real estate expertise. So we are going to squeeze him for everything he knows in all of these areas. Welcome, Tony.
Thank you. Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
Yeah, so tell us, a little bit about this nuclear world, and OMG, I need to hear your whole back journey story on how you went through the world of real estate, because so many people try to tackle that. There's about 1 million gurus who want you to buy their bazillion-dollar courses so that you might make 1 million in real estate. So, I am excited when I meet people who have really achieved what they say and just have the laid back, really cool attitude and entering new industries like you are. So you're definitely an inspiration.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Sure. So I guess I'll start with the real estate side of things, because that's how I got started. That's what led me to where I am today. That's what opened the doors for me. And that's what's built the confidence in me enough to open this nuclear power business. So getting started, my first investments, I was probably 19. I think I was 19 years old, and I bought a lot of land. I guess the inspiration came from my father. My father had a few mobile homes, just and he was getting some revenue from them monthly. So it was kind of inspiring. I seen what he was doing, and I wanted to do it for myself. I went to an auction. I picked up a lot, and I knew there used to be a mobile home on there. So I knew there was a septic and water and such. I paid $7,000. And then I paid another 10 grand for the trailer. All in, I was about 30 grand into this deal. And it still cash flows to this day, paying me $700 a month. But it really wasn't the best investment I've ever made. It was probably the worst. I would never pay 30 grand today for a mobile home just to pay me $700 a month. So, but it inspired me. I learned a lot, and then from that point on, I built my portfolio leveraging debt. I used debt the entire way. So after that, I bought a house and a separate lot with a cabin and 2 mobile homes on it. I bought the primary residence, which means you have 5% down, and then I rented out mobile homes, the cabin. I lived there 2 years. It seemed to go that way for some reason in 2-year increments. It just kind of felt. If I was to sell any of them, that would have been a nice benefit, because if you live in a place for 2 years as your primary residence and then sell it, you pay no capital gains, no taxes on the profit.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah,
so you were learning stuff already. And, I wanted to stop you for a second, but I didn't want to interrupt your story. To say one of the most important things you said in the very beginning was, even though your first deal wasn't your smartest or best deal, or a deal you would even repeat today, it got you started. It was the thing that got you to take the first step. And I think often, and I will do this really quickly, as I always do in a lot of our shows when we're talking about sensitive subjects out there. I'm the Italian mother of 7. We have 7 kids and 8 grandkids. And I'm not your mama. Okay. I'm not giving you financial, medical, legal, or whatever advice. Okay. I'm not telling you to do any of the things Tony just said. We are sharing life experiences, life stories, what's worked for us, what we learned, what we would do, what we wouldn't do. But that doesn't mean that works for you. So make sure you talk to an attorney, an expert, make a good business decision for yourself. But don't call us later if it didn't go the way you wanted. So I have to throw that out there as we are live and in social media. But I think the exciting thing is really sometimes it is you just have to start, right? You just have to do something. But anyway, you started to say you kind of moved into your increments, and I loved that information about the. I mean, I guess you would. Is that capital gains good everywhere, or just some states, or it might vary. I don't know.
No, that's across the board.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, all 50 states. So yeah, if as long as it's your primary residence for 2 years out of the last 5. So that you get a little bit of leeway there. So as long as you live primary residence for 2 years out of the last 5, you'll pay 0% in taxes selling it. Doesn't matter how much you profited. You could profit $400,000 and you're still going to pay $0 in taxes. It's a nice little cheat code to take advantage of in real estate. A lot of people do it who don't mind moving every 2 years. However, I just can't bring myself to sell a piece of real estate. Why would you? I mean, in my opinion, you could refinance it, right? Every 15 years. If you're doing a 15-year loan term, I can refinance the piece of real estate every 15 years, get all of my equity in cash or in the bank for other investments, and I pay no taxes on that either because it's a loan. And I can deploy that in other avenues, more real estate deals, and renters are going to pay the mortgage. I'm probably going to cash flow a little bit monthly, and then I get to do it again in years. If you sell it, you don't get to do it again in 15 years. And then you capture the appreciation. And in my experience, real estate tends to just keep going up.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, I don't think there's too many places in the country right now that either has enough inventory or anything is going down. Not that I know of anyway. And I'm not an expert. I have not covered the whole country of the market, but everything I hear, people I talk to, realtors that I have friends in different locations, everything is on the up and up. I mean, and it's difficult too because of all the changes and what's happening in the world. So, it's a struggle for some people to even get loans now, but still stuff is selling like hotcakes. My girlfriend said she's a real estate agent, and she said that people are coming with, I mean, they're finding ways to come with fists of cash instead of loans because they're fighting for what, property is available to purchase. And they're having a hard time with all of the loans and things. And that goes in ebbs and flows, just like the stock market and everything else. Everything goes in ebbs and flows, and I'm sure things will reestablish. But the one thing is, and they always say this, they're not making more land, right? So.
Yeah, I mean, you might see the real estate market as far as it goes, depending on interest rates, especially, you might see it go up, down, all increments. But ultimately, if you take a step back and you're investing for the long term, 5, 10, plus years, it's going to go up.
And so mostly your strategy has been just kind of adding to your portfolio and then renting things out. That's kind of been your process. Is that correct? I mean, that's what I'm hearing. I'm just kind of confirming.
Yeah. So, I mean, a lot of people do I'm sure you've heard of the BRRRR method, the buy, renovate, refinance, rent, repeat. This?
No, I'm new. We're just starting to we're doing some investments in some companies and some other things, and we're just actually getting started. We're working with 2 coaches and 2 different kind of concepts and ways to deal with investing, totally different coach styles. And we're about by August we'll be making. We have some pieces of land we have our eye on, and we're doing our homework on reaching out to county and making sure everything's the way we want it. Also reaching out to some of the developers in that area to build some relationships so that we can turn it. We're buying land and just turning it. yeah, we have some in Florida and Alabama and some areas that we've been researching that look like are in our budget for our first Just Do It investments. And and so by August, I'll be able to say we did it. We are no longer the V word in that department.
Awesome.
Now we own our own home and land, and we bought other things, but not. And actually, I guess he has done renting before, but it's been a while since we've approached this, and so we're excited about it.
Awesome. Where are you investing in Florida?
I think, and I could be wrong, does Maricopa County sound right? Anyway, I don't. My husband's doing a lot of the research part. I'm going to be making a lot of the calls, and then we're going to bring them to our mentor, and we're going to look through them more thoroughly, and then we're going to go in. So, yeah.
I'm just getting into the Florida market. As of last year in June, I started doing some investments. I just picked up a 4-unit in Madeira Beach last June. That's how I got in. I'm really bullish on like the whole Gulf Coast, the west side of Florida. I feel like the east coast of Florida, Miami, Fort Lauderdale, all the way up, they've kind of saturated a lot. Obviously, I'm sure
stuff pops up. We have some cool things we're doing, and Pompano Beach is actually near where my mother-in-law is, which isn't horribly far from Miami. So, yeah,
I've heard great things about that. But yeah, I just moved down to Tampa, so I'm a little biased as well.
So you're playing in your new playground from that standpoint. All right. So tell us a little bit though about the educating for the nuclear power careers, how that came about, and just, if someone is interested in that, what would they do to reach out to you, or how would you work with them? And before we shift subjects, actually, on that note, are you open to or thinking about taking on students to coach in the real estate space, or is just an expertise you kind of have for now, and you may pull out of your back pocket sometime in the future? Or where are you going with that, Tony?
If somebody get to real estate, I would definitely be willing to help them get started. I don't have any coaching programs today.
Mm-hmm.
If somebody wanted some help, I'd be happy to, give them some tips pro bono for free. Have a free conversation with them, help them get them started. As far as charging for them and something more long term, that's something we could do from there.
Well, I already have the first calendar coffee date virtually booked with you for a conversation. I'm going to pick your brain, tell you what we're doing, tell you what our coaches are doing. I will take you up on that, even if you guys out there aren't smart enough to jump in on it. I'm just going to say I've got first in line for that for sure. So I'll just claim my spot. That's all.
But yeah. Nuclear side of things go. I worked in nuclear power for 5 years. And throughout working in the industry, there's a huge staffing crisis that just seems to be getting worse and worse. Mm-hmm. And, I didn't go to college. I dropped out of high school when I was in 9th grade. From there, I worked as a janitor in a warehouse for 5 years where, I made my first real estate investment while I was actually still working there in the warehouse. I finally got the opportunity through a family friend, and ironically, that's how the nuclear industry really works. You have to know somebody to get in, especially for this particular trade that we offer a career in. It's called radiation protection. Kind of like a health physics job, but nobody's ever really heard of it. And surprisingly, although it sounds high level, you don't need any prerequisites as far as college or schooling. Like I said, I walked into it with a GED, and it was really just because of connections, and they pointed me in the right direction on what I needed to do, what I needed to study, the tests I needed to take. So after, being in the industry for 5 years, and me kind of looking at the world through a lens of, being an entrepreneur, I'm just like, there's clearly a huge demand here for this trade. I am the, epitome of like somebody who doesn't have an education, who got in, I would love to offer this to the public. I would love to be able to, why are we suffering to fill jobs that ultimately pay up to $200,000 a year when it doesn't require college, So anyways, I started doing some research in about 2020, 2021. And then I spent about a year and a half building procedures, going back and forth. All the while, my family, my friends, coworkers, they all told me that it wasn't going to happen. If it was that easy, everybody would do it. And
it's like real estate, and you did that anyway. So you know what? I'm so glad that you don't listen to your family and friends.
Exactly. So last September, I finally got the approval after a long road where it seemed like nothing was going to happen. Everybody around me was telling me nothing was going to happen. Finally got the approval last September. And we did our first class in January of this year.
Congratulations. Yay, you. And it's such a great service because there are so many people out there who just need a position. And, one of your strategies as you develop and grow this nationally, especially in the areas where you have people, I'm just going to insert myself. That's what Italian women do. They just tell you advice even when you don't ask for it, is reach out to the different job source and economic developments in the community, in the different counties and communities where you are, because they may be able to make you some great solid connections of people who just who are employable, who should be able to get work, but are the perfect fit for what you're looking for as far as staffing for your clients. So some great collaborations can definitely happen there. I've taught some classes and things for those organizations myself.
Yeah, that's something to talk to you about as well, because I am trying to bridge that connection. I've been kind of scrambling just, with all the classes we've been doing, but ultimately the goal is to make sure that these careers land in the hands of the people who really need it the most, because, I feel like I really needed it and it changed my life. And I know that it has the ability to do that for everybody else. So that's definitely a goal. So far, we've graduated 37 students. We have a 100% job placement rate. All of these individuals are working careers in nuclear power. We've also maintained over a 60% diversity rate for all of our students.
Good for you.
Yeah, and we have programs in place where we offer zero down for the cost of tuition to our class to veterans.
Oh, nice. That is so nice. That is awesome. So, tell us a tip now, something that someone who's looking for a position like that should know, other than call you because you could help them through the whole process. Duh. But give someone a tip who's thinking about that space, and then also give us save a juicy real estate tip for a second.
As far as nuclear power goes, it's a difficult place to get into without extensive schooling, unless you're honestly going through our class if you're looking for radiation protection specifically. But I will get in the door. My biggest tip, which this goes to all my students as well that graduate our class, is to just maintain a work ethic and get along with people. And you have no idea how everybody's seen The Simpsons, right? He works in nuclear power. He's got his feet up. Nuclear power can be a laid-back industry to work in. You can find yourself with a decent amount of downtime, and a lot of people start to buy into that environment. They see what everybody else is doing, and although they come in strong, they kind of become a product of their environment, and they get a little bit too comfortable. It's not hard to stand out if you just stick to being motivated and working. You'll find yourself with so many opportunities beyond the reason you got into nuclear power to begin with.
A good work ethic routine, and maybe even accountability buddy to keep you from falling into the pink donut syndrome.
I have people that they started off as a decontamination technician, janitorial style work in the plant, and they're now making $300,000 a year not because of an education, but simply because of how they performed at work, how they didn't buy into the environment and just stayed on their path.
I like my analogy better. You can use that, by the way. You can steal that: pink donut syndrome. Don't let it get you. Because I think that's what good old Homer ended up with: pink donut syndrome at work.
Add that in.
Yeah.
So for a real estate tip, I think it's, we kind of touched on it. It's just getting started.
Yeah.
It's the people who are willing to make mistakes. Are the people who go the furthest. You got to break a few eggs to make an omelet, is what my brother always. Because he would just dive in, like he was kind of helped me with my first few remodels that I was doing myself, and at first, and he'd be messing up whatever we're doing, but he would mess it up and get it fixed and figure out the right way to do it faster than me taking a step back and doing research, looking up YouTube. Just jump in.
Yeah, just do it. Just do it. That's somebody's slogan. We won't say who, but somebody stole that. But it's a great idea. I think that's awesome. My quote that is not in the rival with that I don't even know if they have a trademark or not. And if you do, we totally give you credit, whoever's listening. But mine is now is later sooner, so do it now. Because I raised all those teenagers who I'd say, go do your homework. Mom, I'm going to do it later. So now is later so much sooner. Go do it now. And I'd say the same thing with their room. Go clean your room. Mom, I'm going to do it later. So yeah, that's been a quote by Jessica Koch for many, many a year. Well, I love those tips, and thank you for sharing that. And you out there, you know what it's time for. It is time for him to share a cause that is close to his heart. And you have a cause that's close to your heart too. So put it in the comments, hit that share button, because you can be a hero simply by hitting share. Just imagine if someone decides to share time, treasure, or talent, or even just do something kind for someone else because they heard about Tony's cause, they read about your cause, and you hit that share button to make that happen. So Tony, share with us a cause that you care about.
I don't have like a specific charity per se, but there's plenty of good charities to choose from in reference to addiction. Me coming up, my entire family was all struggled with alcohol abuse, and then I ended up struggling with drug abuse along the way. And it took a lot for me to claw my way out of that. So I think that's something that's definitely near and dear to my heart. Something that I will always find a way to give back to people who are struggling with that themselves. And, hopefully I can find a way to intermingle my careers in nuclear power to people like that as well in the future.
Yeah, I think that's wonderful because, that gets so many families. It doesn't, addiction doesn't have any preferences of where you come from, what your history is, how much money your family made, what color is your skin, where are you from? They don't care. Addiction doesn't care. It touches all walks of life, everyone on this planet. Somebody knows someone in their family or friends that is struggling. And so it's wonderful to share that. And, just so much kudos to you. And again, I'm going to say you're an inspiration. I wasn't kidding about that because, you made some decisions as a very young man and just took some chances and did things, and you worked hard and you had a good work ethic, and whoever lent that to you, good on them, because it has helped you push yourself harder and hold yourself for a higher a higher expectation. And even when you slid, you pulled yourself out and wanted and desired to be the best version of yourself and have the best life you could have, and identified that it didn't include those things for you. And so I think that that's wonderful and totally inspiring. So if you have a cause you care about, make sure you put it in the comments. We're now going to talk about one of my other favorite topics. We are creating the ultimate book list of all of the clients who have come on as guests. for our show, so we can find out what books have inspired you, either personal life or business. Is there a book you want to share?
Um, yeah, I think, my favorite book of all time, which will light a fire of inspiration in any, entrepreneurial minded individual that reads it, is Shoe Dog by Phil Knight. It is just an incredible book. It's an autobiography, and I'm a sucker for autobiographies, especially for people, who come from not much to being as successful as he is, and going against the grain of what everybody around you is telling you. And that's exactly what he did, building his shoe empire, which ironically, we touched on their quote earlier, just do it.
That's right. That's right. We did. And in case
Yeah,
you didn't, pick up on who, we should give them credit, I guess. That's Nike. That's Just Do It. That's Nike. We give them credit. Or this is that's our bibliography, right? Isn't that what you have to do at the end of your book reports? Give credit to the right people.
Yeah, and I think if you're an entrepreneur and you want to know what lies ahead, not if you're somebody who wants to be an entrepreneur more so, it is a great book to describe and paint a picture of what lies ahead. If you're somebody entrepreneur, then it helps you resonate and understand that you're not the only one who's going through it. Most entrepreneurs are. There's lots of failure along the way. There's lots of hardship. If you're not getting close to going bankrupt, you're probably not trying as hard as you should.
Exactly. Exactly. I know when my husband and I started saying to one another, okay, we want to do some investments. We want to put them in like 3 different pots to start. And we have other pots we'd like to expand into. But we first decided with don't judge me, but we're doing some like either crypto and stock stuff. We're doing a little bit of actual corporate investment in some technology companies that's actually already paying us dividends and going really well. So woohoo us. And then real estate, right? And we decided, okay, we're going to use this amount of money, and this is the amount of money we feel safe saying, okay, if it goes, it goes. Like it's monopoly money. This is money that it's not going to stress our family out. We're not going to, nothing's going to shut down. Life is going to go on. We can make more of that money with no problem. We're okay with it. And this is our budget for that. And that's what we decided. And I think sometimes you just, I know what you did was a little braver than us. Or you kind of bet more of the farm than we did. But, our home isn't at risk. Our kids aren't at risk. We have, things in place for them if we aren't here anymore. And all those kinds of things are all still there. Yeah, so I think that was our strategy, and so that's what's worked for us. But I was going to tell you, I love that you shared this book, but there's I wish I can remember his name right now. I'll have to send it to you, and I'll make sure I put in the comments, or we'll add it to Tony's article when we put out everything in the descriptions for you guys watching. The CEO of AppSumo wrote a book, and it's called, I want to say it's called $1 Million Weekend or something like that. And it's really interesting. It is a lot about his life and his story, but also about just amazing boots to the ground kind of success. I think you'll really enjoy it. So based on your description of this other book that you're talking about, my husband's reading it now, and I'm going to be reading it for like either the second or third time when I go out on vacation. I like to sit on the beach and read. And I like to like plan and think. And I'm one of those sick people who really loves what I do. So like I'm on vacation, I'm like, oh, I get some time to just focus and think and play with ideas for work. Other people like go on vacation like, I don't want to think about work at all, but that's not me, because I actually love it. Yeah, so I'm going to read it for a third time and like map out a short plan for a couple of teams that I have in my company to begin executing some of his suggestions, because they're, like I said, they're just grassroots brilliant. It's like stuff like, oh yeah, duh, I knew that. I should be doing. Why am I not doing that? We should be doing that. So it was just really fun, interesting, and And I really admire his product too. He has several companies, but one of my favorite companies he owns, and I think is the first one. I think it was his first one, is AppSumo. Because I'm a totally tech nerd. I love new software. I love new technology. I'm teaching AI and all these other automations all the time. It's part of the sales and marketing thing, right? But
yeah,
what?
That's something I definitely need your help with. I'm a little technologically challenged, I would say.
You just haven't gotten it yet. But anyway, his site, AppSumo, is out there to provide softwares and technologies that you don't have to pay massive amounts for monthly, right? That's what I really hate. A monthly this, I got a monthly this, I got a monthly that. Just give me a lifetime access. Give me the silly software and let me run, right? And that you get, he built it so that you can get that opportunity with a lot of new cool softwares. And some of the ones, leading names you'd recognize now that are totally a monthly bill, he had back in the day before they were well known as a lifetime access. Just pay this one-time fee and you get lifetime access. And now they're like a big name software that we won't mention for them or do any advertisement, but I'm just saying they started grassroots with him. So he's a really interesting person. So I think you'll like that book. All right. If you have a book that you've written, or if you have a book that you want to suggest, stick it in the comments. We want to know about. And hey, hit the share button. If you do it, someone else might do it. And then they might learn about the book you've authored or some of your favorite books too. Did you have any closing thoughts before we get to our, well, you're going to give us a final thought, a piece of information or inspiration. But is there anything else about you or your business you want to share before we move on to that final thought?
No, I mean, really, I guess I'll just say that, if anybody is interested in starting a career in nuclear power, you can go to go.nukeforcesolutions.com. You can check out our Instagram. We've got a lot of great training material on there, like our class actually in action, doing the hands-on training. We're a very hands-on focused class. So there's a lot of cool videos on there. A lot of people don't know about the world of nuclear power. Great place to get some of that information. Our handle is at NukeForce Solutions. And then, of course, my personal Instagram is tony.j.morgan, if anybody needs some of that real estate advice. That's
right. That's right. All right. Well, I've had so much fun having you on the show today, Tony. I hope you've had fun too.
I did. Hopefully we can do it again.
Oh, absolutely, for sure. So, all right, leave them with that one last thought of wisdom before we close out our show today.
You know what? If anybody's unsure about jumping into the world of being an entrepreneur, all I'll say is that you cannot lose if you don't give up.
Mm-hmm. That's true. That's right. I have on my wall, make a way. Well, that's the show for today, everybody. I'm your host, Jessica Koch. This is Profound Professionals, the show that brings to you industry experts from all over our beautiful planet that will help improve your personal life or grow your business. So until next time, everyone, be kind to yourself out there and be kind to each other. Bye.
Take care.